So apparently, what is being expressed is this apparent superimposed layer of hyper reality. This, like this really immersive um, apparent appearance of an individual that is experiencing time and space, layered with stories about itself, longing for the absence of itself, or stories about yesterday, stories about tomorrow, or longing for the discovery of its true self, layered by looking at others. How do I get there? Looking for others' apparent reality as a guidepost or a direction to figure out what is going on, or to figure out how to get out of this maze that it has created for itself. So what is being superimposed is in this vastness, edgeless, emptiness, void. Although everything is just an appearance of what is, there is this immersive directness that feels absolutely real. And there's this illusory division line. Although there's no line, there's no division, that creates a story and a web of stories. It's like a written word in ink, thinking it can separate itself from the empty page where it's being written on. Although words are nothing but scribbles on an empty page. But the ink is like a magic, invisible ink. Have you had that ink before? The moment that you write, it disappears. So the moment that it is written, it disappears, and it's always a blank page. There are no chapters. There's no next page. There's no page prior. It's always chapter 0. Because the ink that appears always disappears. But it thinks it can go a couple of pages back and it can reference something from a memory. But all that there is the ink that is writing, that seemingly is appearing and disappearing. And it's writing a story in this. But the page is actually not a page, it's more like water. So like imagine writing something on water, that everything that is written does not really matter. That every single word is just really pointless because it's a blank page or water. It's a blank water page with an invisible ink. And there are no prior or post chapters. There was no beginning and there's no ending. So no matter how much you capitalize all of your letters, even if you use the boldest kind of like writing, even if you're writing cursive, it doesn't matter. Because what it is longing for is the very same page or the absence where it's being written on. But somehow there's a belief in every single word that appears, although it's really an invisible magical ink that does not really matter. So it creates this narrative seemingly in real time because there's no prior. You can't go back a couple of chapters down because it's being written in apparent real time. There's no separate authors, and the author that's writing it is actually like an invisible magic ink. It doesn't really matter. So there's seemingly problems that arises, and it's really engrossing. It's very realistic. It's like the best story ever written. The greatest tale ever told is you. And you are like a magic invisible ink that thinks it can figure out through writings or words or concepts or symbols or ideas or stories on how to get out of the stories, ideas, symbols that is being written. And there seems to be this importance in what is being written, but it doesn't really matter because it's completely meaningless and pointless, and nothing has ever been written. Again, it's an invisible ink, right? So the moment that it's written, it disappears. All that there is this. These words coming out of nowhere, this everythingness, this fullness coming out seemingly out of emptiness, but there's no source behind it, and there's no destination. There's no purpose in any of this, but just this hyper reality that feels especially realistic for the apparent character that seemingly is writing the story. But there's not even a character that's writing a story because the story is happening in dream time. So not only there's an invisible ink, it's written on an empty page with no other pages, but the page is like water that drowns every single word. But it's also being written in stillness. So every movement, everything that's written down, everything that is manufactured, it's like an architecture, kind of like what I said, it's like a sandcastle that disappears. Not even like, like a length of time, because there's no time. An apparent story is being written in timelessness, so it doesn't exist. It's a mirage, it's an illusion, it's an idea. And trying to get to the next is happening at this very apparent moment because there is no next. There is no reference in the past. For example, if you think about yesterday, it will come as a simulation or a hologram of appearing in this apparent moment being written in magic ink. Nothing is happening, and that is what is obvious. Not for the ink, not for the writer, because it feels like a felt lived experience of senses, of immersive appearances, of others talking about as if they know something, but no one knows because everything is written in this apparent moment. There's only this ever now. Someone was wearing this shirt last night that said ever now. It's only this ever now. And in this infinite now, there's no now, I'm just using words. Everything that is thought about the past or the future is appearing in this because there's no other this. There's no other dimensions of this. There's no levels of this. And even if there is an idea of another level or another dimension or a prior or a previous or an after, it's only being written at this exact moment. And this exact moment does not even exist. It does not even matter. It does not, it's nothing at all. It's like writing in black hole, inside a black hole, or thinking inside a black hole that everything is disintegrated the moment that it appears. But you will never notice this because you're the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall is that this does not exist. Nothing really exists. Nothing has ever happened. In this vastness, edgeless, empty void where everything seems to appear as real. Real is nothing but a word. True is nothing but a word. So what is a word? It's just a word made up of words. And again, if you look at a dictionary to look up a word, it's just made up of words. So capturing a word like liberation, freedom, enlightenment, awakening are just words circling around words, like vultures of a dead character. You can pick at it. You can analyze it. You can make it real. You can make it the absolute word. You can make it into the I am. You can make it into emptiness, nothing being everything. They're just words. And words that are seemingly appearing and disappearing simultaneously without pause. And if you really can rip out all of the words, it's just a really still water. And it's not even that. It's not even that. It's not even anything that you could ever think of. Because thinking is like the ink that appears and disappears on an empty page of nothing. If you have any questions, please go ahead. And my apologies, there were some people that was waiting on the room there. I just got caught up in talking about nothing that I did not notice it. So sorry for people that just got in. There's going to be some recording of this. Hi, Leah. Cheers,
Hi.
Leah. Hello.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Oh, cheers. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I guess I'll start this off, and I don't even know how to verbalize this, but I think I've been wrestling with non-duality and some
Mm,
of the thoughts arising. Um okay. So nothing being everything.
yes.
Everything seems to be emanating from this void,
Yes. Yeah.
even though ultimately it's this isn't even happening. This appearance
That's
is
right.
just
It's not even appearing. It's not even
not
emanating.
even
That's
appearing,
yeah.
but that's clearly seen. But at the same time, simultaneously, I can't deny this form, this, even though it's
Exactly.
a holographic,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's still, so it's seen that Leah is a combination of thoughts, emotions, whatever is
Yes.
arising. But at the same time, the recognition that source is emanating through me, that
Yes.
nothingness is animating this
Yes.
being's presence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I think where I'm getting a little held up is that that everything feels so alive, so
Yes.
real. This character going through a scenario, cause and effect. It feels like there's a passion, a purpose, things happening, even though on an ultimate level, none of that really matters. But on a
Exactly.
relative level,
Yeah.
it really feels like I'm moving through some sort of storyline.
Exactly.
But
Because
but
you're the
it
moving invisible ink, right? You're that, it's like, but there's some, and there's not even a source. There's just another idea, you know what I'm saying? But it is what is, saying it doesn't really matter because this can't be figured out, right? So you can call it
right.
whatever
It's
you
like a
want.
snake chasing his tail.
It
But at the
is.
same time, there's something within me that's like, this is too perfect. Like so perfectly how all the moving
Yeah.
pieces fit together and align that it's almost like how could it not be some grand intelligence that's
Oh
doing
yeah,
this?
yeah. You can call it that, but that's just another idea, right? Again, that's just another thinking that is appearing in this vast emptiness, right? And even me saying vast emptiness is just the same as you saying great intelligence. All of these are
Yeah,
just words that are seeming, but if there's no beginning and there's no end,
yeah.
the intelligence seems like a beginning, a source. There seems to
Uh-huh.
be a movement in time. So that's not even that. And again, we can talk here for hours and trying to figure out what is, but we will never forget, and no one has ever figured it out. And it's because it is the impossibility, because the knowing in itself is the flaw. The
Right.
ideas in itself is the obscuring, is the dressing up of something that does not have any qualities. That, because when you think of a quality, then that
Then you're in the
origins,
story.
then you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So again,
yeah.
it's like the ecstasy of not knowing, kind of like what I was talking about, right? It's just that. It's just the suspension of all belief, because the moment that there is an origin point, like, if this is the great intelligence, then there is going to be also kind of like, well, if it's a great intelligence, why am I not happy? That kind of thing. Why am I separate from that? There's an idea of separation somehow, that you are not that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in knowing that you are, and I mean, words are hard for me, like
Yeah.
that you are the character and the source. So,
And
pretty
not
much
even
in my
that. You
mind,
can you
it's
can
like,
say that and not even that. So all the ideas thrown all at once, kind of like the kitchen sink, and then not even that. That's
but
how that's how ineffable it is. That's how it's impossible, right? Because we can come up and lately I've been being sent books and books and books and books, and the common flaw in all of these books and all of this knowing is that there is a landing. It's kind of like
Right.
when someone is writing, it's like you're writing in invisible ink, and somehow there is a circling, kind of like a highlighting of something that is
Yeah.
also invisible.
Okay.
Yeah,
So words kind of taint this, and it's hard to
it does.
communicate.
Yeah,
Um,
because words always have an apparent meaning, right? But
right.
ultimately, words are really meaningless at the same time.
True. But
Yeah.
okay, one more thing. I'm trying to digest this. Okay. So nothing being everything, but you're
Mhm.
still that nothingness. You can't be separate from anything
No,
arising.
no, no.
So ultimately, you're creating this.
Well, you are and you're not. You know what I'm saying? There's an illusion that you're creating. It feels like you're creating this, but it's also not that, because
Yeah.
that's also a landing. You know, that's again, that's the misnomer, right? In a lot of kind of like, texts and everything. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. That's what I
Yeah.
thought it was. When
Yeah.
I thought I was creating it, when my life was all kind of like, blissful and happy, and and I was like on a pedestal, it was
Yeah.
great. The moment that it fell apart, it was like 10 times the suffering, because why am I creating this? And then it's just this kind of like idea that because the moment that the you, even how faint it is, gets in it, my narrative, I am creating this, I am the source, I am that, then it becomes, then it's fucked, seriously. Because there is a personalization. It's something that you don't have a control of, because there's no you that's controlling of this, any of this. You're not even writing any of this.
Yeah.
It's
It's hard
it's
for
like
me to,
it's like you are an empty puppet.
but yet we're filled with oneness, right?
Yeah.
So maybe not like using mind, you're creating this, but there's a sense because you're not separate from the one that's doing it. So maybe with
Yeah.
our pea brain minds, we can't create in that sense because we don't have that sort of knowing. But
Yeah.
if we're not separate from what is,
Yeah.
then
then
there's
then
something that's
everything is
created.
what is. So if we yank
Yeah.
out any personalization, any words, any identification, any kind of landing, any position and everything, it's just like a river flowing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's doing the river flowing. It's just the river flowing. What's the difference between a character that is thinking all of this than just, um, trees, kind of like the leaves swaying? Nothing. It's just this apparent appearance, but in if it is seen, there's really nothing happening in this appearance as well. It's just this impressive instant that there seems to be a hyper focus on, that there's a driving force in it, like me, and then if it's not me, then there's must be something higher than me. That's still a thought about a thought about a thought. So it's just a cyclical pattern. And what liberation that is being expressed here is not inclusive. It is all. It is like the
Mhm.
the the um the horrible date experience that you had. It's that, right? And no
Yeah.
one's controlling that.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
everything. And there's it's
Yeah.
it's like being in a car that's driving by itself, and no matter how much you turn left or step on the brake, it doesn't, because it's just going by itself, because you're an invisible driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like a ghost in a machine, but there's no, it's nothing. That's even saying way, way too much.
Yeah. It feels like relative and absolute simultaneously because like there's a Leah here who's going through a path, a purpose,
Yeah,
working her career and that sort of stuff.
yeah,
But then on an ultimate level, it's seen as purposeless and just being dreamt into existence or
that's right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like a
It's exactly like a dream, like a
yeah,
nighttime dream, right? There might
yeah,
be some, in the nighttime dream, there might be some cause and effect. There might be some decisions that's made. There might
yeah,
be some hurt that happens. There might be some losing or winning that happens. And then, but the moment that that dream apparently ends, the dream never ends, by the way. Then there's this clarity in between. It's like a break in, it's like, oh, nothing really happened. But at that apparent moment in the dream, everything that seemed to be going on felt absolutely real. And it
Yeah.
thinks that it feels like you're driving the show. But there's always this kind of like collapse. You're like, oh, no one's driving this. It's like this superimposed, and you see that there's really nothing happening. It's like peeking behind the curtain all the time. You're like, no one's running this.
I think I have a
Yeah.
hard time with that, Emerson, to say that no one's running this, because
Yeah.
it's still in my mind. There's
Yeah.
some great intelligence that I can't fathom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I agree
but
with you.
how could this even be happening? I can't,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
this whole thing feels so intelligent to me. It's
Yeah.
just really hard
It
to
is. You can also call
separate.
it, you can call it whatever, right? You can say that
Yeah,
this is just the emptiness running the show. But again, to put it into a box like great intelligence,
right.
or even the word emptiness is basically capturing what freedom is. Let's just call it unconditional freedom appearing as whatever. It doesn't have to be intelligent. It doesn't have to have any qualities, just as it is. And for quite a while, when I had this great kind of like 10 years, I don't know how long ago, more than 10 years ago, kind of like awakening, what was held on to was that hope that there is a source that's doing all of this. It's just a transference of my fate or my hope when I was a little kid in Santa Claus. So I still had to, trapped in the idea that I had to somehow be worthy of that great intelligence, the good or bad. It's still dualistic.
But it's you, Emerson. Like, we can't separate from it. It's always us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
we can't separate from it, but there's no us. Because the moment that there's an us, that's separation already. The moment that there's a you, there's separation already. So that's
Right.
that's the kind of like the glaring obviousness. And so when there was a collapse of the me, when there was just kind of like there's no one here, then there was just this unconditional freedom. There was also a grieving of what I thought it was. Because for a whole time I thought that there was a driving force that's doing this, like a great intelligence or a source. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of that, right? But and that's what causes a little bit of the yo-yoing, the being and being and being and being, because there is there's still a subtle, kind of like holding on to the you that's not separate from this. Why don't we just say there's nothing separate, but there's no you in it? That's just a suggestion.
There is me,
Yeah.
and the source emanating through me.
Yeah.
So it's both simultaneously.
Yeah, you can say that too. You can say that, that there is a felt sense reality here, but that felt sense reality is also empty at the same time. Yeah, it's just words. Yeah.
Because I feel like when I focus too much on the nothingness, it starts feeling like very heavy and deep, versus the beauty and the appreciation of everything arising.
Yeah. Let's not even say nothing being everything. Let's just change it to nothing is everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
There's not even a process. There's not even kind of like a going to, because it's just another illusion. Let's just say that this is emptiness as it is. It appears as a me, appears as Leah, you know what I'm saying? It appears as whatever. It appears as dewdrops and rainbows and everything, or poop. It's just what is, right? And so when there's no more kind of like going back and forth, right? Kind of like, is this the source and everything? Because that's just a movement in stillness, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But when we get caught up in a web of stories, then everything becomes a story time again. And there's nothing wrong with story time, but what is being expressed is the joy of not knowing. The ecstasy of kind of like this, kind of like, I don't know, but it's fantastic. It's stunning. It's like my walk in the morning, it's just great, right? It's kind of like, it's not like, the great intelligence is shining, is working through me and everything. Then that becomes a personalized idea. Again, nothing's wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? And I can even, in the dream, it can even be kind of like a really nice, pleasant thing when there is just this surrender. Like when I see my mom praying the rosary, it's the same thing, like I have great faith in God, and no matter what happens to me, there is this faith. It's the same as that. And again, it's beautiful. Sometimes I watch my mom, especially what she's going through recently, right? She's had a fall, she's had some brain, and there's this fate, she watches this stuff, which is for her the great intelligence, and it's just working through her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, there's if it keeps the dream, beautiful, why not?
Okay. Can't argue
All
with
right. All
that. Thank
right.
you, Emerson. I appreciate you so
All
much.
right.
Okay.
Thank you. And Catriana from the sunny Trinidad and Tobago. Did I get it right this time?
Oh, perfect.
Where
Oh, I'm
where are you
glitching
now?
again.
I can't find you now. What happened to Catriana?
She
Oh, there
disappeared.
she is. She disappeared.
When I raised my hand, I didn't expect that entire conversation with Leah to go the way it did. And I'm
Yeah.
just sitting down here, my heart is racing, and I'm like, whoa. Yes, on Friday, Patrick shared a link to a video for us. And I watched it and I wrote down, what is mind, thought? What is thought? This was from the video. This is not me. Look into the thoughts, look into the source of the thoughts, where the thoughts coming from. And just before Leah started speaking, I was emailing a friend and I just wrote, getting to the sources, getting to nothing. And I said, fuck, there is no source.
There is no source. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the boom. You know what I'm saying? That's the bingo. And it's not a pleasant thing sometimes, right?
No, my
it's
heart's racing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my
There
God.
is, because it's the anchor that keeps the ship tied. You know what I'm saying? And when that anchor is gone, that ship sails. And it could be dark waters, stormy waters, still waters, but the source, and that's where my stuckness was first. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. For quite a while in the dream, when there was a higher self, the source awareness, the pure consciousness was kind of like my cushion, my comfort zone. It's like my paddle board, or kind of like your, when you're, to keep you afloat. The moment that that's gone, it's free falling.
You don't even realize that you're holding on to that, even when you're saying and believing the words that none of this matters.
It's
You
your life
don't even,
vest.
you don't even see that you're still holding on to that little, that maybe this has meaning. Even though you keep saying this has no meaning.
Exactly. Everything, it's the memory of a word that really kind of like counts you, like the source, that's massive. It's like your highlighted imaginary existence, right? Because there has to be something other than this. And so it almost kind of like obscures this. It almost like it's like a negotiation that there is a source, that there is. And again, kind of like what I was saying, it's lovely. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really lovely until it's not.
Shit.
Until it's like that. And that's what it was. That's what it was. That's why I was kind of like dumbfounded. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I think someone mentioned it. It's like the last sacred cow. Mm-hmm. Because we burn, like we burn our, our practices and everything. Some people kind of like, watch it burn down. And then you watch all the gurus and teachers go. But what remains is almost kind of like this innateness, like this, almost kind of like this thing that is your identity almost. And that's when that is ripped apart. That is, it's mind-blowing that there's no mind. Because if there is no mind, because it doesn't have a source, so the mind creates this illusory cushion called the source, where it's coming from, where everything seems to be arising from. And it's just one of those kind of like, ooh, it Lauren said, Santa Claus is the first sacred cow in God, and Source is the last sacred cow. Yeah, and it can morph into different things. Like, some people even take away kind of like the identification or beingness and make it into, you know, silent awareness, or all of that kind of stuff. And that's why I keep on ripping apart words. The moment that I think that the word is becoming a source of the
Something.
source, yeah, like not
Yeah,
even
it's
that. Don't go
becoming
there.
something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like an
yeah.
idea, a concept you're
It
grasping
becomes
desperately.
it's like the sacred cow keeps on
Wow.
resurrecting, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like keeps on kind of like coming up, coming back as the source, as emptiness, as nothingness, as oneness, as everything. And it's the comfort zone. That's the
Yeah.
comfort in and it's yeah. It's wow. It's like the empty wow. You're like, I don't know what to say. Right?
I
It's like,
just went, wait. And then her whole
wait,
conversation played out, and I was like, wow, what
yeah,
is even happening?
yeah.
Damn.
And it's not even, it's not whatever you think, it's not even that. And
Yeah.
even if you say, well, it's really kind of like vast and empty and void, not even that. Because the moment that it's kind of like, when you get a cut, you know what I'm saying? The body kind of like, right away kind of like tries to fix the cut, and it creates this stuff and to heal you. The moment that a word comes up, it's a defense
Yeah.
mechanism right away, and it creates this kind of like, storyline.
Correct.
Even a story that it's not a story is a story, right?
Correct.
Even kind of like empty is a story. So nothing is but a story. And then when there is this revered kind of like, kind of like that. That's why I keep on smashing dishes, right? Because, oh, you can't eat on that. Psh, you can't do, it's just this obviousness that there is nothing. So when nothing is being expressed, people right away can like connect it to like, oh, that's the source. Then it's nothing is the source. And then, but nothing becomes an idea, and nothing being everything. And it becomes this kind of like magical idea. And it's again, kind of like what I said, it's really watching the whole house that you built burn down. And
I
then the
didn't
one
even
that built
realize. Yeah.
and the one that built is also burning down. Even you are burning down. You're like, oh,
I didn't even realize that I was holding on to even that. It's just like
yeah.
what she said. Because already I'm like, yeah, God is nothing. And from whatever,
Yeah.
supposed imagined path, you're like, yeah, well, God and source are the same thing. So God is nothing. Well, obviously I get this. But then
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
reason, typing that was just like, oh shit.
Who
And there are
shit?
no
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
There are just no words.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like using that magic ink thing, because they're not even words. They're just like, it's just phantom, all of these words, all of these ideas, all of these concepts, everything is just this phantom.
Even
It's
your
just,
dictionary reference landed different.
yeah,
Because you're like, yeah, you just open a dictionary and a word is just made up of other words.
it
And I'm
is.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It's mind boggling that there's no mind.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, well.
All right. Holy shit. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I mean. There's nothing that was offered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I'll cheers to that. Oh, beautiful conversations here. There's a lot, so I'm not gonna. It's in public, so you guys can read it. It's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I thought Petra's. Hi, Petra. I thought you raised your hand. Beautiful conversations from Lauren, Casey, and Amirali. Hey, Lauren. Hey. Hello.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't know, there's just a lot of sadness this morning.
Yeah.
But on the topic, I have enjoyed listening so far, and it's my question for you is, so if there's this dimensionless nothing that vanishes faster than it can be caught.
Mhm.
Why is it that in that landscape of like, you know, an undifferentiation, that in the exchange with you or this meeting, it feels so much easier to resonate that nothing matters?
Because there is a because it's resonating with itself. Nothing matters is resonating with nothing matters. It's very simple. It's just because we have all of this, we have all of these sacred cows that we hold on to, right? All of these ideas and everything. And then it's just being said, well, that doesn't matter. But there's almost kind of like a not a part of you because it's just a story, but there is this emptiness that is just resonating, hearing itself. So it's hearing itself without any varnish, without any coating, without any, it's raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's it doesn't have any kind of um dangled carrot, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like any kind of future. It's just this. So it's almost like the emptiness when I do a one-on-one. It's like an interrogation that there's no one here. Although it feels like there's someone here. Both happening simultaneously. And that's what is sometimes it's easier to kind of like digest because there is just this I guess there's this passion and joyfulness about what is.
Yeah.
And that's just a whole bunch of stuff that I said that doesn't even matter to prove the point.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first heard this, there was a lot of resistance as well. But when the resistance kind of like, it's almost like it's like it's like a glacier kind of like thawing, right? And there was just like, and then the glacier that was built over time is just really water. So water is resonating with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually something.
I'm melting.
That yesterday, because one of the things that kind of clicked was I feel like when I'm in court, I just feel so vulnerable to, being swept up into like all this perceived or whatever seeming energy of anger or like, analysis, whatever. And I just yesterday the realization was that there is no here.
Yeah.
There's no here. Like,
yeah.
yeah. So this is not needing to be like maintained.
Yeah. Exactly. I used to thought that I was a human pincushion. That was my dramatic story. I'm like, okay, yeah, this one is, there's a space here, there's a space here. And that was my narrative. Right? It was just this human pincushion. And then I thought that by being spiritual, that but it was more like a bypassing still of like the hurt, because I took it all internally, but there's really no internal and external. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
and so I mean, I don't know if there's resistance. Maybe I feel like there's more surrender than ever. Maybe whatever. It doesn't matter. But and like I'm probably sad because I watched a really sad show.
Which one?
1883.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got
Is it?
and Faith Hill. And this woman, the young girl, falls in love for the first time, and it's like really beautiful. And then well, sorry if anyone's watching it, but he gets killed.
All right, that's okay.
And I'm just like
But this whole
crying.
meeting is a spoiler alert all the time, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh man. And I mean, so it's all just apparently happening, but I was just, what I wanted to ask you about, because I have no complaint really, is just why is it so much easier to remember that when I'm like at a meeting with you? I don't know, or with anyone who's sharing this communication.
Because there is almost like this is just a story as well, but there's just this, it's kind of like when we had the meeting last night. It was just so great just to laugh about, just freely talk about that nothing's happening, that this is all just it was just there's this easiness, right? And then when seemingly kind of like you can like encounter your parents or your coworkers or whatever, like in the apparent thing, there is a heaviness sometimes, right? But it's yeah, it's just what is. And those are just really stories. And we just kind of like, last night it was just fun because we had pizza, beautiful, delicious, like artisan, yummy pizza. Beautiful. Yeah. And there was just a lot of laughter and sharing. So it's like that, next time when it's not too snowy and when you're closer, come, and it's just fun to kind of like it's almost kind of like let it all hang.
Mm-hmm.
This is where everything is kind of like you let it all hang, and like all of the even kind of like the residues or stuckness is clarified that it's really nothing. It's just really simple.
Yeah.
Because especially when you go to a courthouse, right, there's probably a lot of kind of like a lot of kind of like wild, crazy, intense stuff, right?
Yes, pressures, expectations, people in
Yeah.
costumes, everything. Yeah.
It's like one of those TV shows, right? Like one of those like high court drama TV shows that what's that show with Bryan Cranston that I haven't seen the second season yet, but it just came out, and it's about his son. He was like a judge, and his son killed a mafia son. So the judge is trying to cover up for his son. And it's like that. It's like this, like I don't even want to watch some of it, right? I'm like, because you can like see this character. It's like Breaking Bad in reverse. In Breaking Bad, there's this dad, but basically he's the same character if you look at it.
Cool. I will
Yeah.
check it out.
Check it out. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome conversations here. Are there different types of feelings there when you speak with different people? Yeah, what I'm saying, there's apparent, and again in the story, there's going to be some, it's like eating food, right? Some food are going to be sweet, some food are going to be spicy. feelings, yeah, with different apparent people, but there's really no different people. There's really no different food. It's kind of like what I was talking in the first day, that there are really no colors, but we see colors because there's no we that's seeing it. Colors actually is just all an illusion. It's the same thing as anything. Everything is an illusion, especially like different people. There's really no different people. It's just what is appearing. And what seemingly is the response is just going to be whatever it is as well. Catriana goes, there is no power to lose. You lose nothing and everything at the same time. Everything is this and not this. It's hard to capture this in words, and it's beautiful, talking about this, but we're not really even talking about this. Oh, there's lots of chat here about Keanu Reeves, emptiness. Awesome. Everything is a story. Yeah. There is nothing that is outside of the story, because that'll be just another story. But you can also say anything. You know what I'm saying? You can say that these are all turtles, all the way down, all around. You can say that this is all unconditional love. You can also say that there's nothing at all. All of these are similar, sayings that is just pointing to something that cannot be pointed at. Again, the gift of not knowing is the best. Or the empty price of nothing. What does turtles all the way down mean? There's just a funny joke, right? There's a funny joke about the earth being flat. So someone asked, this is just a joke, someone asked, how do you know that the earth is flat? Because there's a turtle, that's carrying the earth. And what's under the turtle? Well, it's obvious. It's turtles all the way down. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but I think it's really funny. It's an illusion all the way around. Thank you for asking, Anne. Hi, Emerson. How was the meeting last night? It was great. It was great. It was more of a pizza eating, beautiful, delicious, handcrafted pizza. Like one of those kind of like really good pizza places, like authentic pizza. That's like not like not like your Uncle John's or Pizza Hut or something. More like delicious, really, really delicious. Yeah. And then we know what's funny is when I got home, that we stayed quite late. I got like a call that I had to DJ at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I had like an hour sleep, but this is great. That's why I'm drinking coffee. Pizza, yes. As a character, you can feel powerful or powerless. Ultimately, it's nothing happening. Yes. But as we are informed as well, there are still emotions, thoughts, feelings of expressions. Therefore, it's still important to our apparent growth and progression to store, which isn't separate from oneness. Yeah, nothing is separate. And whatever is seemingly happening, it is what is. It is what is. Yeah. It's always as it is. And yes, Linus, pizza. And we also celebrated Forrest's birthday last night. Forrest was there yesterday, but I think he's celebrating his birthday today. It's pizza all the way down. Yes. Thank you so much, Emerson. I really loved your invisible ink story. How do you come up with these ideas? There's always something new with you. There's just a lot of it's just clearly it's seen what is. It's unknowable. And then when it's unknowable, then there's just this, expression of that is unknowable. There's just creativity because it's not coming to a position so it can use a variety of stories and analogies and all that kind of stuff. There's just enjoyment here. But there's nothing special with it. Oh, thank you, Leah. Thank you. Hi, Leah. Hello.
Hi, I thought I'd come back.
No worries.
I wanted to ask you something kind of unrelated. Do you
Sure.
get good pizza up in Canada?
Yeah, well, Jack brought some pizza and it was just absolutely delicious.
Really?
It's really kind of like authentic Italian. Like there's a few places, right? But it's very rare. There
Yeah.
was one in Vancouver that was really great. And this one was comparable. So like it's kind of like wood oven burnt, you know what I'm saying? Like baked.
Oh, that's
So
the
it's got
best.
like it's the best, right? And it's not,
Yeah.
and it's just the perfect like thickness. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's just perfect. And then
Oh.
the ingredients are like they had one that was just kind of like a spicy margarita pizza.
Ooh, that
Delicious.
sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, it was delicious. And then we had cake. Someone's birthday yesterday. Someone turned 22
yeah.
years old. Yeah.
So you went out and braved the cold up there?
We had a little kind of like meeting. So we did kind of like an hour and a half meeting. It was recorded, so I can someone recorded it.
Awesome.
So yes, I'm looking forward to share it as well. It was fun.
Oh,
It was
no.
fun.
One day I'll
It-
have to venture up to Canada when it's
Yeah,
warmer. I'll
it's
come
warmer,
to one
yeah.
of your meetings.
I love that. I love that there is no hierarchy in this apparent meetings, right? So we can just talk about stuff. And it was funny because at the end I was
Yeah.
just talking about DJing and it was just shocking to them. I'm like, well, in the DJing, this is the DJing world, right? Which is such a big contrast to, to this, right? In the DJing world, there's a lot of gave them the dark, stories about DJing. the end
Oh
while eating
no.
pizza. Well, it is
Oh
what
my
it
God.
is.
It's so hard for me to picture you like in the club DJing. Yeah.
It's no
That's
one's there
awesome.
though. No one's there though. It's just DJing happening. I tell them that, like
Yeah.
after a gig, I usually try to get out as fast as I can. Right. It's just
Yeah.
but it's also nice kind of like observing a little bit what's happening. It's such a it's but the eating part is good. The eating part, the pizza
Definitely.
is so good.
Oh
Next time
wow.
you
I
come
need some
here,
good pizza. What's
Jack,
that?
Jack, it's just yeah, the priority in the meeting is actually the food, not the meeting.
That's a good priority.
It is.
Yeah. Out here in rural North Carolina, we're known for barbecue, but not our pizza.
Ooh, barbecue. I like barbecue too.
Yeah, we have amazing barbecue if you're into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm into everything. Apparently.
That's good.
There's
Good
just
with
an
me.
openness here with Paladin. It's funny because we're talking about
Yeah.
spice, right? And
Mhm.
there was a time that someone was basically saying that because one of the pizza was spicy, right? And said,
Yeah.
someone said that you can't seem to develop that. I'm like, actually you can, because when I first started eating when I first started encountered spicy food, I would need 3 glasses of water. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah. Now I don't even flinch, right? I'm
Like,
eating something and they're like, I can go into that wing competition. Have you seen that one? The
you
spicy
don't.
ones?
Emerson, you don't do that, do you?
No, but I said I can probably go to that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Although
Well, when
I
you
love
do videotape
Next
it, I want
one-on-one. Next
yeah, the
one-on-one
next
idea,
one-on-one.
spicy wing competition.
So-
We'll see how long you can stay empty for.
Actually, someone said that. Kelsey said that we should do one, like a one-on-one with like a spicy kind of like, a eating competition or something, a non-duality. That'll be fun.
oh, that would be a first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to do it?
Oh boy, is that a challenge? I can't say no to a challenge. Yeah, cute. Emerson.
I'll research a little bit on what we have to do, but that'll be fun to
Okay.
do. All right.
Okay, you do. Yes.
All right. Leah.
All right. All
And the
right.
people that are vegan, you can also eat cauliflower, kind of like, delicious.
Oh, that's
Have you
right.
had cauliflower kind of like, wings? They're so good.
Oh, so good. Like with the
So good.
buffalo cauliflower.
Yes.
So good. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When
Yeah.
I was vegan, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of
Yeah.
like my kind of like, like I think I would eat like 3 plates of those, right? Like, those, cauliflower stuff. So delicious. So delicious. Yeah.
Well, we'll barbecue it up and put those sauces
Yes.
on. And,
That's
okay.
right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's on.
Okay.
Let
Casey's
me
joining
know.
too. So Casey, you're
Okay.
on.
Oh God.
All right.
I got to start building my tolerance now. I'm way behind.
What happened was we were at another outing that we did is we went to see basketball in one of those giant restaurants in Toronto, and I ordered ghost pepper, and one of the person that was attending did not know that it was ghost pepper, so kind of like poured the sauce all over, and she was like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's ghost pepper."
No, you didn't.
Did she eat it?
Well, yeah, but she was drinking lots of water and her face was flushed, I guess. She's like,
Oh
but,
wow.
she was looking at me and I didn't even kind of like, just ghost pepper.
Just ghost pepper.
Just ghost pepper. Yeah.
You crazy
Oh
person.
my goodness. Too funny. All right.
Thank you. Oh, that's the dream busting. How did you stop being the human pincushion? Um, well, you know what? It's a long story, actually. You know what? It was just um I don't really know, to be honest, how to answer that. There's just a seeing that there's just no more seriousness when there was a holding on to that independent, individual, and thinking that it was just kind of like, you can also call it, being empathic, in the apparent spiritual world. When you're an empath, there's just this yeah. And how do you stop being a pincushion is that when it's seen that what seems to arise is just nothing at all. It might feel absolutely real, but it's kind of funny, because when there is a holding on to the narrative of, like, the narrative that I'm a human pincushion, it's seemingly, saying is maintained. It becomes the identity. It becomes your reality. It becomes your truth, so to speak, right? So for quite a while, I was carrying that badge, that I'm the human pincushion. And of course, I lived it in the story. When it's seen that it's really nothing at all, that it's just another narrative, I don't even know when it stopped. It's kind of like right now, it's like water off the duck's back. Everything just slides. Nothing kind of like, for example, if the apparent Emerson that really, really took all of these stories really, really seriously, and was human pincushion, it would have not survived a week of speaking about radical non-duality, because there's a lot of trolls in this communication. You should see the comments, that happen sometimes. So yeah, there's just this relaxedness about it. Nothing taking seriously anymore. Or like walking a talk that nothing is happening. And eating lots of food. That too. But thank you for the question. Lord, hanging out with Emerson is very bad for a diet. True. Yes, Casey. If there's no me, why do calories count? Exactly. It's all zero. Hi, Emerson. Thank you so much for these meetings. It looks like Emerson's living life. Um, there's just a happening, right? There's no more restrictions, so to speak. There's no more, it's just, yeah, it's just life living. There's dancing, there's eating. When there was a maintenance of a character, there was a maintenance of a story, so to speak, as a teacher. There was a lot of restrictions, and there's nothing wrong with restrictions. It's just what is. But when there's a character that is this, um that's just free, and there's just this um undivided freedom, this unconditional freedom. So it's free to restrict or not restrict. So it could eat out as much or not eat out, or it's free to be whatever it is. It's almost like the authenticity of the character is not it's not trapped anymore. There's no trying anymore. It's just what's happening. When I was a little kid, it reminds me of when I was a little kid that that my brothers and I would eat. It was just a comfort thing. Like we would spend a lot of time eating. So it's like being a kid again in that sense. When as I got older, I guess when I got into spirituality, there was a lot of restrictions. There was a lot of, oh, I can't do that. I can't eat that. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a narrative. But there was a lot of editing. So this is kind of like the character that is unfiltered. It's no more filters, it's no more editing. It's just as it is. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. It doesn't have to be correct. It's just what is. Yeah. I gave up on self-improvement, saved massive amounts of money. Oh no. Yes, but lost it in crypto. Yeah, there was, spirituality to me was just a massive self-improvement project. And then when it became kind of like, the applied non-duality, it became a massive no self-improvement. So it's just all about, higher self, lower self, no self. As long as the self is involved, right? It's always about improvement. It improves itself because it is not actually real. So when it keeps on moving, it's kind of like when you have a moving target, although it's an illusory target, there is an illusion that it is real. That's why movements are illusory. And what is seemingly only permanent is stillness. Yes, after the apparent seeking, after the end of the story of seeking, I'll add to that, Lauren, I saved so much money because I used to, travel all over and, pay massive amounts for retreats, that required accommodations. And if there was a guru, what I'm saying, that like I thought that I had to pay my way. Yeah. And I used to also buy tons of books and crystals and you name it. Every spiritual accoutrement, I would purchase it, whether it be a wand or crystals, and a lot of pseudo kind of like stuff that I would think that there'll be this magnetic thing that you wear around. Yes, spiritual swag. Yeah. And body improvement. Yeah. I had to look a certain way, like it as my look was as if I was always yeah, there was just this self-improvement. It was just nonstop over and over again. And this is basically, 0 F's given, which is unconditional freedom. But if riding on a Peloton or walking or running for hours also happens, that's also it. Or eating in a buffet is the same thing, right? No one's controlling anything anymore. No one's doing anything. So everything's just happening on its own. And it doesn't need, accessories like spiritual swag to kind of like, maintain an image that I'm on the right path, because the path is no longer, there's no more path. It's like living living like there's no one watching, because there's no one watching. Supplements, gym memberships, expensive alternative health tests is a sign of obsession different than pure enjoyment. Yeah. Yes, totally. I did a whole bunch of those health tests as well. Yeah, you're right. Um, I also did a lot of floats. I don't know who did a lot of. It was nice, but it. I was an ambassador of one. Like you would float. In a salt kind of like thing. I did a lot of that too. Um, a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff. It's a whole industry of self-improvement. Yes, but they're still taking care of the body. And this, yeah, of course, being an acupuncturist, I've helped tons of people. Of course, yeah. Again, yeah, there's nothing wrong or right with everything, right? When what I was doing, what I think what Lauren is saying is basically is a self-improvement all the time. And I like acupuncture. I like I like going to a chiropractor and cracking my back. There's nothing wrong or right about that. I like floating. It's just what is. Yeah. It's not about a denial of anything, but there's just this. Yeah. When I run, I go run like Lauren. I like running. I like going in an indoor bike. And then sometimes, you know what, as much as of glutton, I'm exposing myself. I do like eating kind of like there's sometimes I would go to a restaurant and eat like the healthiest options. But I'm not stuck in one anymore, right? There's just this no more stuckness and everything. Yeah. Can you talk about the space between dreaming and waking? There are actually no spaces. There's no distance between dreaming and waking. Everything is just, there's just this, it's like, okay, there's this illusory. So everything that is moving, everything that is a movement is like a dream. It's an illusion. Then there is this stillness or seemingly, again, seemingly, right? It's not like a seemingly all of dreams, seemingly happen along with. So there's stillness and then there is movement that's not actually separate. But since we cannot really see, we can't, there's the tendency to think it's either or, it's either moving or still, but it's happening simultaneously. So the dreaming and waking are happening simultaneously, but there's no one dreaming or there's no one waking. It's just an appearance. If you want to add that to that, Lauren, please go ahead. Or another kind of like example is that you think that you're waking up in the morning and then you're going to sleep at night, but no one really wakes up in the morning and no one really sleeps at night. So that's the appearance of someone waking up and sleeping. It's all dream. So the whole shebang, the whole thing is a dream. There's nothing that is outside of the dream. It's just all a dream. So there's an appearance of, it's like you will never notice yourself go to sleep. Like you will never witness that. You won't even witness yourself waking up because there's no you that's waking up or sleeping. Lauren.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes.
I'm so sorry, my husband. He now noticed. I just started crying and laughter. He's like, why didn't you tell me it was on?
I didn't even see it. I was just, I didn't even click into what was apparently happening.
Oh,
Don't
my
worry,
apologies.
Don't worry, it's not on. It's not. It's not. We were not in gallery, so no one. It was not. It was not recorded whatsoever.
Okay, I'll let him know.
I
then.
didn't even mention it. I didn't even. I just laughed at that thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh my God.
I can't stop laughing.
Oh, I was crying laughing just now before I came and I actually saw the message on his side and I was like, oh my gosh. Lauren, it's my husband. Not my boyfriend. Oh God. Sorry.
Where's the parrot? Where's the parrot? Is the parrot there?
I do. So I put up toys for him outside to play, and I'm genuinely not sure if he's outside playing or if he's flown off to go and spend time with other people.
That was such a treat actually seeing what was the name of the parrot again?
Gruff.
Yeah, Gruff. Just the story, right? Does he have any stories that the media has picked up?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He has, because he's been taken. People have grabbed him twice, and then
oh wow,
when he got grabbed, like people got video capture of it happening.
Oh wow.
And at the time he had a pretty big following on Facebook, or even the times before that. That's how he got such a big following on Facebook, because he'd keep having these adventures where people would trouble him, and then everybody is like rallying to get him back home and free.
Oh wow, that could be a movie. Disney could approach us. So the story is that Katriana has a macaw, like a blue and gold macaw, right? They live up to 100 years, huh? Or 80 years.
80 years in
80
captivity.
Years, in captivity, yeah. Wow. And so the parrot is free to fly all around your town, right? So so the parrot comes back when? Usually at night, right?
He goes in the morning, comes home, spends some time at home, and if he gets bored, he goes to go and visit other people, and then he comes back every evening.
How old is Gruff now?
He's 3 years old now.
Oh wow! So your kids would have to take care of Gruff. Yeah. Wow! 80 years old. Wow.
I know, long time, right?
Yeah. So it's a well-loved mascot, I guess, for your town, right? So everyone sees Gruff flying around.
Correct. Everybody calls him the mascot of Diego Martin. That's the little town that we're in.
Wow.
And like this morning, they close off the highway lower down by us. And he goes every Sunday morning to go and meet and greet with all of the cyclists and the people who are exercising.
He has a fan base. He has
such a character.
I'm gonna teach him some non-duality so we can have a real non-duality parrot.
Okay. I'll get it. I'll make sure he hears next time. I'll work on it.
Yeah, nothing is everything. Yeah. All that there is this. Yeah. And all that he has to do is just repeat that, and it'll be the most popular YouTube non-duality parrot, which is actually a parrot.
It's funny because when he does learn to repeat things, it's almost like I'm expecting to hear it with more of a human voice.
Yeah.
So I'm recognizing that I'm not picking up that he's giving, like he's responding to me. Mm-hmm. So I was telling Casey the other day, I only just noticed, and he's probably been doing it for a while. Every time he comes home, when he goes to sleep at night, to tell him night, I love you, and I tell him kisses, and I go mwah. And I realized he's sending me back kisses. He goes mwah back to me.
Oh,
So Casey heard it. Like he actually heard it on the video. And I was like, see?
Oh, wow.
So then he might learn all of these terms and it'll take a while before we notice.
That's right. He'll say that there is no source. Which is the most brilliant, non-duality speaker, which is actually a parrot.
Yeah. There you go. We'll get to it.
That's right. That's
very
right.
soon.
I'll be the manager. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we see how did we change the subject right away there? We became the parrot. Okay, so if nothing is perceived as just nothing, then who is aware of this experience? A non-duality doesn't acknowledge awareness and considers another thought, then how can you be functioning in this reality without an awareness? So that's the biggest kind of like misnomer again, right? That there is a prior, that there is a witness, which is actually duality. So awareness or being aware is just another thought. So it's just an appearance of a dualism, kind of like, when you're dreaming, there is a cause and effect that if you drop an apple, it will surely fall to the ground. So awareness is kind of like a witness, but it's a false witness because there's no prior, there's no duality, there's no one actually. So in the directness of what's being spoken about, the sourceless appearance, which is actually more of a wow rather than having a prior. So what is being expressed is that this is undivided. So what seems to appear as as movement, like awareness or being conscious of, is just an illusion as well. And what's being expressed is the immediacy, the directness, that there is this apparent stillness, movement, but nothing is happening. Duality isn't separate from non-duality, though, yes, but there's actually not even non-duality. That's just another thought. It's just another idea. It's just another appearance. And that's what I was, these are perfect questions. Then how are we here? That's the great mystery. That's the joy of not knowing, because we're not even here. So there's this idea, there's this felt sense, that I am here, that I'm drinking coffee, that I'm talking, but this is just an appearance. This is a dream. Kind of like in a dream at night, for example, there is a we, there's a you, there is like, it's like that the Wizard of Oz kind of thing, right? It's like, you were there, 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 but no one's really here because it's all a movie. Not just what appears in the movie, but the whole thing is a movie. And there's no one in the movie. It's all a play. So there's a play of characters. There's a play of we, you, me, here, there, but it's all a play. When that is collapsed, like when you wake up from the dream at night, there's a pause that nothing really happened. And then the dream continues again. Then it becomes like, oh, I have to cook some breakfast. I'm hungry. But let's continue this conversation in an hour and a half. We're going to take an hour out. We're going to have 3 sessions today. I feel, and then afterwards we can all chat and maybe drink some tea, coffee. If Casey's going to buy everybody beers. So we'll see you back in an hour and a half. See you later. Thank you so much, everyone. And then keep that thought, Leah. We'll talk more about that because I really like these questions.